with another video. Got a fun one today. We're in a live stream here at Poker House Dallas. 125, the 5 is mandatory. It's a $500 minimum. I'm in for 1,000. There's no cap. Let's just jump right into the hands. Let's go. We're in for $1,000, but I promise by the time this video is over, I'll have way more than that in front of me. First hand of the night, we look down at the bullets. Yes, I can't make this up. Shout out to Brian, the dealer. Maybe it's him. Always had good luck when he deals me here in Dallas. I'm on the dealer button, and I look down at aces like I said. There's an open and then a re-raise by Sham. He has pocket kings. Can't make this up. First hand of the night, kings versus aces. I'm on the dealer button, and I'm going to come in for a re-raise to $185, which is definitely on the larger side, but I definitely like my sizing here. When the action folds back around to Sham, I've never played with him before, but he's a viewer of the channel, and he decides to rip it all in straight off the bat for his $500 stack. I think about it for, like 0.1 of a second. I snap call and turn over my cards. We're off to a run out here. 1K pot in the first hand of the live stream. Kings versus aces. Feels like a setup, honestly. The board comes 6, deuce 5, queen 7. So it looks like a good board for us. Actually, the graphics were wrong. The reason why I'm laughing is because there was a king on the flop. Yes, the actual board was king 7, 5, queen deuce. 3 spades on the board, and Sham's going to take down that 1K pot right off the bat. Had around 20% equity in that hand. He's going to win that 1 out of every 5 times, and I guess he's going to take this one down here, so shout out to you, Sham. I top up $1,000 more, and I have $1,500 in my stack, and I look down at the jacks. Action folds around to me. I raise it up, pretty standard, and everybody folds. So we're not going to get any action with the jacks to help us recoup some of the losses on that last hand. No worries, though. I look down at ace 4 of diamonds here in the next one. I'm in the +2 position and open it up to $20. Tom, Todd, Foe, and Sham all put in the call. Yes, we're going 5 ways to a flop here. Put some diamonds or an ace out there, dealer. That's exactly what we get. Ace, king, 8 with 2 spades. We have top pair here, and as you can see, we have a cool 69% chance to win this hand.
Nice.
69% might as well be 100. Action checks around to me, and I go for a stab here of $35. One player gets out of the way. Todd is sticky here. He has a pair and a backdoor flush draw. He puts in the $35, and Foe gets out of the way as well as Sham. The 6 of spades peels off on the turn. Todd checks it over to me. Do you guys go for a bet here, or do you check behind? With a spade draw coming in and a lot of better aces and maybe some 2 pairs on the flop or turn, I decide to check behind and see what the river brings in, which comes the 3 of clubs. When Todd checks to me for a 3rd time, I think we can go for some thin value here against a hand like king 10, king queen. But in the moment, I decided to check behind and lock up this profit. $115 coming my way. Finally, with some momentum, what do we look down at? Again, second time of the session, I pick up the bullets, pocket aces, and I'm in the +1 position. I come in for a standard open here in this 2-5 game to $20. Probably could be going a little bit larger, but we get called by Todd with his 7-5 of spades, and Mike calls as well, although we can't see his cards. We're off to a flop, which comes queen 9-7 with 2 spades. We don't have the ace of spades in our hand. Mike checks it over to me. I'm out of position to Todd, and occasionally in between 2 opponents, I like to start with a check first. Obviously, I'd probably go for a check raise on this board. That's what I do. I check it over to Todd. With his pair, flush draw, and backdoor straight draw, he decides to stab out here for $35. Mike puts in the call, which is interesting, and now I definitely need to go for the check raise. There's a lot of hands that I can get value from, like spades, 10-8, 10-jack, king 10, king jack, hands of that nature that could beat us on the turn. So I go for the check raise to $115. Todd doesn't waste any time before putting in the additional $80, and the action's back over to Mike, who by his facial expressions looks like he's in a tough spot. He ultimately finds a call here for $80 more, and we're still 3 ways to the turn. Mike checks in the dark. When the 6 of hearts peels off on the turn, action's on me as Mike has already checked. There's $408 in the middle, and I decide to go a little bit over half pot for $250. We can still get value from a hand like ace queen, king queen, as well as any spade draw we want to charge. The only hand that really gets there now is a hand like 10-8. Todd, though, finds a call, which makes sense seeing his cards. He has a pair, and now we picked up a gutter to the 8. He also has a 7-high spade draw as well. So I don't blame him for putting in the call here, but in the moment, I couldn't see his cards. I was definitely confused why he was calling. What really confuses me here, though, is when Mike goes for the check raise to $1,200. It's a sizable one at that, and one that definitely puts me in a conundrum. He's obviously representing a hand like a set or 10-8 maybe. The action's back over to me. Let me know down in the comments, would you guys put in the call here, or would you guys just fold your cards? Pocket aces is a great hand, but it feels like a bluff catcher in this spot. So for that reason, I actually decide to fold my cards. Actions back over to Todd. Interested to see what he does now here in the moment with his 7 high flush draw. And he actually folds his cards as well. Mike's on a live stream. He's going to show his cards for us because they didn't read on the sensor. And he turns over 10-8. So he actually turned the straight. Great card for him there. And happy I got away from a bad spot there in a 2.1K pot.
Alright, so what we're looking at here is Wolf does have ace-8 suited.
Alright, you guys, we're under the gun with ace-8 of hearts this time. Actions on me. I opened it up to $20, and Todd, our nemesis here, he 3-bets us to $65. Not going to be folding a suited ace here. Todd's good enough to be raising this with a wide frequency. I put in the $45, and we're off to a flop with $138 in the middle. Flop comes ace-jack-7 with 2 clubs. We flop ourselves top pair. We also have the backdoor nut flush draw, but look at Todd's hand here. He has a gutter to Broadway. He also has the nut flush draw as well. I check it over to him, which is pretty standard, and also standard is Todd going for a c-bet on this board. He bets out for $80. Flopping myself top pair here. I'm never going to be folding. $80 more for my stack going into the middle, making the pot around $300, and the queen of diamonds peels off on the turn. Definitely a dang turn card for us. Really good turn card for Todd, as he now has the best hand possible on this board. I don't know that, but luckily I check it over to him. Very weird line here from Todd when he goes for a little bit of a deception and checks behind on the turn. He's trying to set up a nice little bit of value on the river, but good news for us is when the king of spades peels off on the river, that's going to make it a little bit easier for us to get away from our hand. Ace-8 of hearts is my hand, and I check it over to Todd for a 3rd time here. If he goes for a bet, I'm in a weird spot here, but hopefully he'll just check behind. Of course, he's not going to check behind with the nuts. He bets out for $125. I know what you're thinking. I probably just have to call this here with top pair, but here's my logic for actually folding. There's a lot of 2-pair combos he's going to go for value on here. If he has just like a weak hand here that we beat, he's probably just going to check behind with the 4-liner and a lot of 2-pair combos out there. So I decide to actually fold my cards here, which didn't really feel great in the moment folding top pair, but seeing all the cards now, I definitely like my fold a lot.
Yes, he does. He does go ahead and lay it down. That's a smart laydown.
I add on for $1,000 more. I want to cover a lot of people at the table here. I feel like I have a good edge, and I just want to have a lot of money on the table for this live stream game.
Under the gun, Wolf with king, queen. Expect him to raise to, there it is, $25.
Next hand, we look down at king, queen offsuit. I'm under the gun once again, and I raise it up to $25 this time. We're going to get called with our favorite hand, pocket 7s from Eric from the hijack. In the cutoff is our buddy Todd, and he comes in for a 3-bet here to $80. With his hand, ace-king offsuit. Foe puts in the call. I do as well, and so does Eric. We're going 4 ways to a flop here, which gives us an open-ended straight draw. Jack 10-8 with 2 clubs. King of clubs in my hand, but when Todd comes in for that 3-bet, I'm going to check it over to him all day. So does Eric. He has the same idea. Actions on Todd. Could be going for a c-bet here with his ace-king high. His gutter to Broadway, but he decides to check, and so does Foe. We're off to a turn, which doesn't improve us at all. It comes to 6 of spades. Not going to be leading into 3 other opponents here. I check it over to Eric. He checks it to Todd, and Todd now goes for a delayed c-bet. Todd now goes for a delayed c-bet of $225. Actions back over to me. It's definitely a strange line from Todd. I really would like to see myself in this moment go for a check raise. He's really strong hands here that he's representing, like jacks, 10s, or 8s. It's unlikely he'd be checking those on the flop. I block the nut straight here of 9 queen, so a check raise here really would get the job done, especially seeing their cards in the moment. I just saw the cards that I had, king, queen, and I decided to fold my cards, looking to pick a better spot. Eric does as well, and Todd's going to get rewarded with that pot. Nice delayed c-bet from him, and he's going to take that one down. Next hand, I'm under the gun, and I look down at pocket jacks once again. I come in for an open here to $25.
Oh, Wolfgang here under the gun. He's got 2 jacks.
That brings in Kip. Actions over to Pat, and he calls as well. We're going 3 ways to a flop, which unfortunately the graphics on the screen cover up the flop. It's hard for me to tell what the board brings in, but I check the flop, Kip bets, and I decide to call, bringing in the turn card, which is another I don't know what it is situation. I decide to check, and Kip checks behind, but as you can see from the graphics, I have a check mark here, so I have this hand locked up against his pocket 8s. Obviously no 8 on the flop or the turn, which is great news for us. I bet out for $50 on the river, and Kip puts in the call. We turn over our cards, and I'm going to take that one down. Next hand's an interesting one. I look down at Queen Jack of clubs from the dealer button. Todd's under the gun with 8-6 of clubs, and he raises it up to $20. Fo, Ruben, and Andrew all put in the call, so definitely a great squeeze spot here for me. I have a suited Broadway hand, and I 3-bet it up to $125. If I just take down the pot here, I'm going to win around $80, which is definitely great news. But also, if anyone calls, we're going in position with a range that they're going to think is pretty strong. Todd puts in the call for $105 more, which is great news for us seeing his cards. Maybe we can flush him. That brings in Ruben with 10-9 suited, and Andrew gets out of the way. We're going 3 ways to the flop. $423 in the middle, and the flop comes Jack 5 deuce rainbow.
He flops top pair here, deuce 5 jack. Wolfgang way out in front with top pair.
We have top pair with a good kicker, and Todd checks it over to Ruben. Expecting him to check it over to me, I'm going to go for a C-bet. That's not what happens. Ruben, now with a 10-9 of spades, decides that he wants to lead out into me on this exact board. $150 is the price of poker if I want to continue here. I don't really think a raise makes too much sense for me. He's representing a hand like pocket 5s, pocket deuces, maybe jack 5, just trying to put money in the middle. But I flop top pair here in a 3-bet pot, so I'm putting in the call. Let's see what he does on the turn. Todd gets out of the way, which isn't great news, especially when the deuce of clubs peels off on the turn. He would have had his flush draw and might have put more money in the middle. Deuce of clubs on the turn is a great card to see, as it makes pocket deuces way less likely. Ruben checks it over to me, and I only have one move here. He has 225 in his stack. I'm going to rip it all in here and have him call it off if he wants to draw. He folds his cards though, so we're going to take down that nice size pot there, $723, and nobody really had anything, so definitely stoked to be taking that one down.
Big turn for Wolf. Ruben gives up. He took a stab at it. Unfortunately for him, Wolfgang's going to add some chips to his stack.
You guys are going to like this hand. I look down at King Queen of spades from the cutoff. There's a few limps over to me, and I raise it up to $35. Kip on the dealer button looks down at Jack 10 of diamonds. He thinks that's a good enough hand for $35. He puts in the call, and so do 4 other people. Todd, Fo, Pat, and Ruben all like their hand. We're going 6 ways to the flop here. Looking for an above average board, and that's exactly what we get when it comes 10-7 deuce with 2 spades. We have 2 overcards. Additionally, we have the spade flush draw. And better news for us as we look over at Todd. He folded his club flush draw in the last hand, but here he has 6 deuce of spades. That's great news for us. He has a pair and a flush draw here, and he starts with a check. Action checks over to Ruben, and he's not scared to put money in the middle. He has a7 offsuit for middle pair, and he puts in his entire stack here for $190. Puts me in a weird spot here, as I was probably going to be doing some c-betting, maybe some checking for some small frequency, but when he rips it in for $190, I just don't really think I can be folding here with my 2 overs, the backdoor straight draw, and the front door flush draw. I put in the $190. By me calling for $190, it gives Todd actually a pretty good price to call here. He does have some reverse implied odds, meaning if he hits his flush, it's possible I have 2 better spades in my hand, which coincidentally is exactly what's happening here. But he puts in the call, and we're off to the turn. A spade card would be money here. There's 783 in the middle, and that's not what we get though. Although we do pick up a gutter to the straight, it comes the 9 of hearts. Todd decides to check it over to me, and I don't want to bloat the pot here with just my king high, so I decide to check behind. A spade would be money on the river, and that's exactly what we get. It comes a 5 of spades. Bang! We river the flush. Not only do we river the flush, Todd does as well. I'm hoping he bets out into me here so I can go for a sizable raise. As you can see by our stack sizes here, we're sitting actually very deep. I have 2.2k in my stack, and Todd has me covered with a massive 4.1k here. He checks it over to me, and now I have a decision. Really would have preferred a bet like I said, but we have basically the nuts on this board. It's not paired, and we're only losing to a ace high flush. It's unlikely Todd has that though, unless he's just getting super trappy. 783 in the middle. I kind of like a large sizing here of 5, 6, 700. But in the moment, I decided to go small here for value, $330, and Todd snap calls us, obviously. I turn over my hand expecting to be good here, and sure enough, I am, seeing Ruben as a7 offsuit. We have Todd completely crushed. Surprisingly, he didn't go for a raise on that river. Great no raise there by Todd. Just flat calling me saves him a lot of money. We're going to take down that $1,400 pot. Let's go. Next hand, we look down at ace king of diamonds from the small blind. Eric has ace queen offsuit, and he opens it up to $20. Pretty standard. Pat and Andrew both put in the call. Actions on me. Ace king of diamonds, I'm going to be 3-betting all day. You know how it goes here on this channel. I 3-betted up to $120. Actions back over to Eric. Be pretty surprised if he folds a hand as strong as ace queen offsuit. Sure enough, he puts in the call, and that brings in Pat. We're going 3 ways to the flop. With nearly $400 in the middle, we flop ourselves a backdoor straight draw, backdoor flush draw, and 2 overs. It comes Jack, Jack 6 with 2 hearts. It's all red, but it's not the all red that we were hoping for. 2 hearts is not 2 diamonds. I start with a check into 2 other opponents. If someone just comes out and bets here, we're going to be in a weird spot. We'll probably have to call them for a small sizing, but lucky for us, Eric and Pat both decide to check behind, which brings the 3 of clubs in on the turn. I now decide to lead out into the field for $150. We could be beating a hand like ace queen, king queen. We could also get value from any heart flush draw. And on top of it, I would be checking a lot of jacks here on this flop just for a little bit of deception. I can't always be checking with bad hands. So I really like my $150 bet here, and we're going to get through the first opponent. Actions on Pat here, and he has our favorite hand, pocket sevens, which is a pretty strong hand, and I don't expect him to fold for just 1 bet. Sure enough, he's a good player. He puts in the call, and that brings in the river. The river comes the 8 of hearts, and now the action's on me. When he calls me on the turn, I don't really think he has a jack. He might have a flush draw. He might just have some random 2 cards. Who knows? It's Dallas poker here. So I'm going to go for the bluff here. I don't really like it in hindsight because the heart flush comes in, but against his exact hand here, pocket sevens, I really like my $350 bet. Hoping to get him to fold here, but Pat's a great player here, and he smells out this bluff, and he puts in the $350 required in order to win this pot, which is exactly what he's going to do. Pocket sevens is better than my ace king high. He's going to take down that nice sized pot here for a 1-2-5 game. Few more hands to go here. I'm in the +2 position. I have 2.5K in my stack, and I look down at the Cowboys in Texas. Pocket kings. Victor opens it up to $20 with queen 10 of hearts. I 3-bet him to $55. Nothing too out of line just yet. Eric puts in the call, so does Todd, and Victor does as well. We're going 4 ways to the flop here with pocket kings. We're feeling pretty great about our hand, especially on a board like 10, 6, 9 rainbow. If you look at everybody's hands, it's pretty funny. They actually all flop top pair. Todd also has top pair with a gutter to the straight, so a lot of things going on here on this board, and he decides to lead out for $175. Victor also flopped top pair here, so he's not going to fold for $175, and the action's on me. Quick little poll, you guys. Let me know down in the comments. When we re-raise pre-flop here with pocket kings, and then we get led into for $175, and we see under the gun put in the call, what do you guys do here from the +2 position with pocket kings? Do you A, flat call the 175? Do you B, re-raise to something like 400 or 500, or do you C, just get away from your hand here at pocket kings and just muck them? Interested to see what you guys think. In the moment, I think about all 3 options, although I'm never really going to fold here. I decide that the best play is just a flat call here. It's possible somebody has a set like 6s or 9s. Someone also could have a hand like 7, 8, so I decide to put in the 175, and we'll see what happens on the turn. Eric has top pair as well here, but he wisely gets out of the way. We're now going to see this turn card 3-handed, which comes the king of hearts. Bang! We turn the set. Great card for us because now we're only losing to 7, 8, and we could boat up on the river, winning this pot in a suck out. We'd now beat 6s, 9s, and 10s, and us not raising on the flop is going to disguise our hand pretty well here. And Todd does not slow down in the slightest. He bets out for $350. No fear in that guy whatsoever. Actions on Victor, and it's only $350 for him to call. The king of hearts actually improves him to a gutter as well. Any jack would give him the straight, so I don't blame him for putting in the call here. He actually thinks about it for a while, which is surprising, but then ultimately finds a call. Actions back over to me. 1.5K in the middle, and it's $350 for me to call. Obviously, I'm going to be at least calling. Could be going for a raise here, targeting any of the sets, 2 pairs, or the pair plus straight draws. But in the moment, I actually decide just to flat call here for $350. Reason being, there's a lot of money in the pot, and both other players seem to have something on this board. If they check to me on the river, I can go for a bet and probably get paid here. So when I check behind, the 8 of diamonds peels off on the river, which isn't a great card because it puts a 4-liner to the straight. Todd bets out for $750 now, which is music to our ears. Victor gets out of the way and folds. Actions on me. Obviously, with my top set, I'm never going to be folding, but can I go for a raise on this board? I don't really think so. We would only be getting value from sets, but Todd has shown a propensity to make good folds in tough spots, so I don't really think he'd call me with a set or a 2 pair here, so we're only going to get called by better. So I just snap him off here for $750. Expecting me to good a large portion of the time. He turns over his 2 pair, and we're going to take down that $3,000 pot with our top set. $1,600 worth of profit from that hand alone coming my way. Last hand of the night, I look down at pocket 8s. I have 4.1K in my stack. Yes, you're reading that right. It's going great so far. I'm in the big blind. Tom under the gun looks on at queen 9 suited, and he decides he's going to raise it up to $20. That brings in Victor and Andrew. I'm in the big blind, and I decide to put in the call as well here. I probably could be going for a 3-bet, but let's flop ourselves an 8 and win a massive pot. Kip's in the third blind. He's in the $5 blind, and he puts in the call as well. We're going 5 ways to the flop with a cool Benjamin in the middle. Let's see what this flop brings in. I said let's flop ourselves an 8, but let alone 2 8s makes quads. Bang! We flop ourselves quads. Unbelievable way to end the night. We are sun running here at Poker House Dallas, hoping someone has a 6 in their hand. Andrew actually does, but he decides to check. Action checks all the way over to Tom, who was the initial pre-flop raiser. He bets out for $45. Action folds around to Victor, who actually has King Jack offsuit here in this spot, and he decides to make it $145. Music to my ears. I don't know what these guys are doing. A bet and a raise. My call is going to look super strong here, but I have no other option. I just have to flat call here. A raise would probably just get everyone to fold. Maybe they have a backdoor straight draw. Maybe they have a backdoor flush draw. We need to let them get there. I just put in the smooth call here, and Tom gets out of the way. We're going to go heads up to the turn with Victor. When the turn comes, the ace of clubs, not going to be leading into him here. Hopefully he picked up top pair here. I check it over to him. Not great news for us is when he exercises some pot control here and checks behind, bringing in the 7 of diamonds on the river. $435 in the middle, and I decide to lead out into him here. If he has a 6, if he has an ace, if he has a pocket pair, he's probably going to call us here. I decide to go large here for $355. He thinks about it for a while, which is definitely some Hollywooding going on here from Victor. He just has King Jack high. He obviously comes to the right decision and mucks his cards. We're going to take down that pot here and end the night with pocket quads.
Show 200, that place on green.
Holy crap, we just had to step out of the room there to report for you guys. We turn the kings, and then the next hand we flop quads and win a large one there. If you guys are enjoying this live stream so far, be sure to hit the thumbs up, and if you're new, consider hitting the subscribe button. The videos are only getting better from time to time. If you guys find yourself in Dallas, come check out Poker House Dallas. Always great hospitality and great action. But I'm not going to bore you guys. Let's just get back in the hand, but hit that subscribe button for the run good. Let's go. I guess we had one last hand here to report on. I look down at ace-7 of hearts from the hijack. Victor opens it up to $10. I'm going to punish him once again, and I 3-bet him to $30, which brings in Eric with pocket 8s. Foe, Pat, and Victor all put in the call. We're going 5 ways to the flop. Not making this up, the board comes ace, ace, 4. Bang! We flop ourselves 3 of a kind. 3 aces with a 7 kicker. Great spot here. Nobody has anything on this board, although Foe and Eric both have pairs. So if I play this one tricky, we might be able to get a little bit of value from them. Action checks over to Victor, who bets out for $60 with his king high. Yes, he's good action for the game. Like the dude, and like him even more when he's betting into my 3 of a kind. I put in the call here, and surprisingly, both other pocket pairs get out of the way, wisely sensing that someone has an ace here. When the 9 of spades peels off on the turn, Victor checks it over to me. It's looking like he's giving up. I could just check on the turn and bet on the river, but I decided to go for a little bit of value here for $60, and I show him that he made a good fold. He mucks his cards, and I show the table that the last hand of the night here, I have a monster, and not really blaming them if they're looking forward to this stream coming to a close. When it's all said and done, I rack up my chips and head to the cage. Alright you guys, it is currently 2:30 in the morning. We played for 5.5 hours in that live stream, had a great time with all of the friendly faces that came out to see me here in Dallas. Got into that game for 2K, bought in for another 1,000, in for 3, out for $43.90, a profit of $13.90 on that session. Great action here as always in Dallas, not afraid to gamble. I even got approached to jump into a PLO bomb pot game. Just a whole table of only PLO bomb pots, but it's 2 in the morning, gotta catch my flight tomorrow at 10. So I'm gonna hit the hay. As always, really appreciate you guys that watch all the way to the end. You guys are the real subscribers. And drop a like, subscribe if you're new and you made it all the way to the end. I always appreciate it. Good luck on the felt as always. I hope you guys run as well as I did tonight. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace. Thanks for watching to the end of my video. Click my head below to subscribe and stay in the loop. See you next time.